Hello,
Awesome.
hello, hello.
Yeah, I didn't even get a chance to say hi, Bruce, before we jumped online. How you
I
doing?
know. Yeah, Judy took right over, didn't he?
Oh, I'm
Well,
glad you.
welcome everybody. We are live. This is the Build and Grow with Real Estate Show coming to you here with my good buddy Josh Weidman and my longtime friend, former business partner, coach, and mentor, Mr. Bruce Barlar. And we will get into an
Hi, everybody.
introduction on who he is here in just a second. We come to you live every day at noon. This is the Build and Grow with Real Estate Show. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, we cover a topic. This week, Bruce, we were talking about subject to and lease purchase.
Okay.
And then on Thursday, we have on a guest to kind of talk about that topic a little bit and just, their experiences in real estate investing in general. And then on Friday, we do a news wrap up. So without further ado, we are going to introduce Josh and myself and then introduce our guest and talk about this topic. And I'm going to go first, Josh, because,
Youth before beauty. Youth before beauty.
What's that?
Youth before beauty.
Right. Youth before beauty. That's exactly right. Hey, I'm 41. How old are you?
I'm 41 too, but I'm almost 42.
Okay. I didn't know that I was younger than you.
So beauty, that means I'm last, right?
Right, exactly.
There you go. Exactly.
So my name is Judah Hoover, and I am an executive with Slate House Group, and I want to be your realtor. We are doing an awesome job buying and selling properties right now, listing properties, and for a lot of people, their investment property is not just their investment property, their primary residence is their largest investment. It's oftentimes larger than their stock sponsor mutual funds, larger than their 401k. So your primary residence is very important. Why not work with a realtor who understands investment real estate as well for the largest investment that you're going to have? That makes a lot of sense. Give me a call, 717-766-7994. I can list your house for you. I can be your buyer's agent. I cover all of central Pennsylvania because I'm a crazy nut. And let's talk. Who the heck are you, Josh?
Sure. My name is Josh Weidman. I've been a real estate investor since 2006. We're coming on 14 years here in December. Throughout that time, I've been involved in a lot of different facets of the business. Right now, I run I'm a partner in Hard Money Bankers. We've got an office here in central Pennsylvania to service all of central PA, but we also lend in all of Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, Northern Virginia, and DC. If you are looking to have your project funded, we are a private and direct lender, which means that we can move very, very quickly. And I can underwrite your loan on the same day that you contact me, within an hour or two. And if you got your ducks in a row and you're ready to close and it's a tight time frame and you say, look, Josh, I got to close this tomorrow, we can do that. Once you're underwritten, we'll collect a little bit of paperwork, very low red tape. And then, coordinate with your title company, insurance company, get everything taken care of and fund the loan. Just a week and a half ago, we originated a loan at 1:00 in the afternoon, got it approved by 3:00, inspected it before 6:00. And then we funded it on Monday before the 3:00 closing. So if you need funding on your next deal, give me a call, 717-213-8488. That is our shameless plug section of the show. Now, Bruce, actually, Judah, introduce us to Bruce. Because Bruce has talked before, but in the 15 minutes that we talked on the phone, he dropped some bombs on me that I didn't even know where to follow the conversation. I didn't know the depth of your experience and like your background and stuff like that. And Judah's been bragging about you since I've known him. So
yeah, so I just owe so much to Bruce, and I met Bruce when I was like 25. And he is kind of the guy who took me under his wing at an early age. And I was able to take all those books, tapes, and seminars and all of that stuff that you learn as ethereal book knowledge. And Bruce was able to help me make that real and make that practical and walked me through my first deals. We did a bunch of deals together. We did a bunch of deals separately. We did a bunch of deals for other people. When I tell people that I had a hard money company with about $7 million on the street, Bruce was my business partner in that. So Bruce, you'll get a chuckle out of this, and our listeners know this. I'm in the property management business and used to be a hard money lender. Bruce or Josh is a hard money lender and used to be in the property management business. So we kind of flip flopped. But what's so great about Bruce is he's the one when I was a mortgage broker, and within 6 months of doing my first real estate deal, which was a subject to deal, I quit my job and did nothing but buy and sell real estate for about a year and a half. And then I ran out of money. I met Bruce, who was a hard money lender. A guy by the name of John Nyhart introduced us. And Bruce said, "Oh, Judah, well, you're a real estate investor and a lender. I always found," this is Bruce saying this, Bruce said, "Judah, I always found that being a good lender helped me be a better investor, and being a good investor helped me be a better lender." And so I took the money that I made from real estate investing, and Bruce and I started a mortgage company. We had 2 other partners in it. And for about 10 years, that's what we did. We did commercial, residential, and mortgages, as well as doing our own deals. So Bruce, you've done a number of now you are what, so couple things that we want to hit on. So I always talked about having the importance of, if you're going to do subject to deals, or if you're going to be a real estate investor as well at all, you want to have a good quality realtor beside you so that you can send deals to them, because sometimes you can't buy a property subject to and it should just be listed. But also sometimes your tenant buyers will qualify to buy a house right away, or and they could buy your house right away. And the only way you know that is if you're working with a good quality mortgage broker, which is what you are, correct?
Correct. Yep. Well, actually, we're a mortgage banker. So
mortgage banker.
yep, we're a lender. So that means we underwrite and fund our own loans, similar to Josh. So we use our own money to fund, and then we'll sell in the secondary market to the agency lenders, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, Ginnie Mae. So, which is the government side of things. So my background, certainly, you kind of I put a few things out there, but I started investing in real estate in 1991. So buying and selling probably a little over 600 houses in the last 30 years. I met Judah, I think that was in 2004,
2005, something like that.
So we put together private lending capital at that time, and we were doing everything. We were doing buying and selling houses, doing subject to deals, which I can elaborate on. Rent to owns. I always loved rent to owns. So those are long-term capital gain plays. So to do a rent to own with a tenant buyer. So now what we do is we just kind of focus now mainly on just lending in the residential marketplace, or there are options, outside of that in what we call the non-QM box. So for people that don't quite fit the box, but what you related to earlier was, it's always good to have a good team. You got to have a good realtor. You got to have your good hard money lender. You got to have your residential broker, your banker to take things out. Your title company, so you have an insurance agent. So you have to have a good team in place in order to be successful. People that you can trust and rely on to give you accurate answers. There's a lot of fluffy stuff out there, so you want to make sure you talk to a professional that can give you the right answer. And that's what we try to do. I try to use my experience to offer my insight, because I can't do every loan, but I can give insight.
But you're really good, Bruce, because you have a background as a flipper, as a hard money lender, as somebody, rental portfolio owner. You've kind of done everything, even some development stuff. So when somebody calls you and says, "Hey, I'm looking to house hack," or "I'm looking to buy my first investment property or my first primary residence, but I also want to invest," you can kind of take a more holistic approach as opposed to them just calling somebody from, their local bank.
Well, exactly. I always have believed in, as you do as well, setting goals for yourself. So certainly conversations always take place when I'm talking to someone that wants to do investing. And I've always been a firm believer, you own your primary residence, but it's nice to own at least one other property that somebody else pays for, just to add to your, retirement portfolio. So I've always been a believer of that. But it's about goal setting. What are your goals? What are you trying to achieve? And that way, then we can offer our insights. And as Judah knows, sometimes I'll say, well, it might not fit my goals or my portfolio needs, but maybe it fits yours. And so that's a nice way to
stop.
do the
Never
deal.
said that wrong. I lost $150,000 as a young kid because I didn't understand that an old gray-haired individual says, doesn't meet my financial goals, but it might meet yours. What he's saying to you is, run.
Yeah.
Don't do that deal. Well, but you know what? I'm better for it, and I also learned so many lessons.
Yeah.
People talk about how much money they've spent in education. The 300 block of South 14th Street in Harrisburg taught me $150,000 education.
So I'd like to ask you, Bruce, how did you get started? I mean, you said 600 houses in 31 years. That is a career. I mean, that's a prestigious career. And that's quite a number. How did you get started? What attracted you to real estate? And let's start there.
Oh, sure. So I was working in an insurance agency that got sold. So I got a check, when the agency got sold, and so I wasn't really doing anything. A local guy in Lancaster County called me up who sold a lot of real estate. Hey, can you come help me? So I went and helped him for about 15, 16 months. I also learned on the buyer's agent side. So I was a real estate agent, about qualifying buyers from a really, really great lender. So she really knew her business. And so I just, was kind of her gopher, but I learned exactly what goes into making a deal happen. And then this real estate broker said to me, so I need you to answer a question for me. And he said to me, I need you to either commit to being a buyer's agent or, you're going to go invest in real estate. What is it that you want to do? And so right there and then what I heard was, are you going to make me rich or are you going to make yourself rich? I said, nice. Thank you for these last 16 months here. I'll see you later. And so I just kind of went out on my own. I had a little bit of money saved. I used credit cards because I didn't have a private lender at that time.
Yeah.
And I started to buy actually in the Dauphin County area because I found I just couldn't put deals together in Lancaster County. And so I tried a variety of techniques, but I started to build my team early. I built a really great real estate agent, local guy for that. They would give me market values. What's the ARV after I fix it up? What's it going to be? I hired a really great real estate attorney, Steve Newdell in Harrisburg. Awesome guy. Judah knows him. Really, really great real estate attorney. So I had people and he also does title work that actually understood that. I had an insurance agent that I could, rely on to make sure I got insurance. And then I began to look for bankers at credit unions. And back when I started, it was I could be very creative on deals with banks. So, I just kind of networked my way up to vice presidents that actually could make decisions. Like you make decisions, Josh. I pre-underwrite and make decisions. So they could make decisions to give me money. And that's how I started to get into deals. I really liked the lease purchase early on. I could buy, I could fix up, I could put a new loan on, I could pull a little bit of money out back then. And then I would put a tenant in to do a rent to own. I could take earned income credit month as January of every year. So we always want to have our rent to owns lined up. Earned income credit. A lot of people get a lot of money back then. Actually, even still today. And Judah and I could take $3,000 to $5,000 as a down payment. Know what the sales price was. Know what the rent was. And before I put the client into that deal, because I knew lending, I understood what needed to happen in that person's life so they could actually buy the house.
That's great. I mean, that's a really nice synergy there. you could look at their credit and say, my goodness, these 5 things have to come off. You know, it's going to be 18 months before they're going to be ready, or whatever the case was. That's great.
So here's a couple of things I heard from Bruce's story there. Willing to work for other pros, not making a ton of money himself, but learning out of the gate. Also, you know, there comes a point where you need to, for lack of a better term, shit or get off the pot. You've got to decide, am I in this for me or am I in it for somebody else? And Bruce, I know who that agent was, or at least I'm 95% sure, and I just won't go ahead and mention his name at this time. But I didn't. I had forgotten that he said to you, you know, essentially, are you going to make me rich, or are you going to make yourself rich? That's great.
Think about the favor that he did you, though.
Right.
Because
Oh yeah.
if he wouldn't have said anything, he could have sat on you know, on your income for the next 10 years. You know. Yeah.
Yeah, we're still friends today.
I was
Definitely.
going to say, you're still friends with him today, and I knew who he was before I had a relationship with you. But through having a relationship with you, Bruce, my relationship with him has deepened. I also like the other thing that you said is, you know, you networked with bankers and you developed relationships with people who were, you know, tellers who became head tellers, then became, you know, lending officers who became chief credit officers, you know, and by developing a relationship with individuals, it's just grown and gone up. And I know for my sake, you and I working together as well as we did, and you investing in me and me investing in you, I've been able to say to people, oh, I know so-and-so at this bank and so-and-so at that bank. And it's because of the hard work that you put in. And people are like, oh my goodness, that's my boss's boss. How do you, someone as young as you, know them? And I said, well, you know, because of, you know, just real estate deals. I just love the power of networking, and I love the power of finding good local people to authentically mentor you, not somebody to cash your $50,000 check.
Well, exactly. You have to have integrity. If you have integrity, as you develop those relationships, Josh, you will find that people will actually begin to just take your word. You know what? He said it, it's going to happen. So a man is only as good as his word. If you follow through, no matter how painful it is, just keep your word. And
now, Bruce,
respect you for that.
I want you to tell the story, Bruce, of now your youngest Jackie, what is a sophomore in college this year, freshman in college this year.
Yeah. Yes.
And but I knew Jackie when she was like 8, and you told me a story when she was like 4, walking into a house and some of the odors. Tell that story.
Oh yeah. So both my kids have been in foreclosures, and of course, you know, when you go into foreclosures, often they smell like cat pee.
Yeah.
Yeah, both of them went in, and she looked at me and she said, "Daddy, why does it always stink so bad?" And I said, "Honey, that's the smell of money."
Yeah.
She also knows the term "putting lipstick on a pig."
Right.
You know what I love? 4-year-old learns that lesson at 4. I mean,
Yeah.
I used to take my kids around on projects that I have under construction. Every Saturday morning, they jump in the car with me, and I bribe them with Dunkin' Donuts donuts, as you know, going from house to house. And like my kids, like, it's just part of the week. It's like, okay, well, we're gonna go see the houses that we have under construction. But like,
Exactly.
it's such a great way to inundate your kids with, look, this is what we do for a living. This is how we make money. And this is, and like, bring up questions that would never, or answers to questions that would never come up in normal day-to-day life, but are really important lessons for them to learn as early as possible.
Well, investing, I always looked at it this way. So we each have our jobs that we do, right, that we make our money at. But investing is how we make money while we sleep. And so I always ingrained that in my kids growing up. They would count rent money. They would see their bank statement come in, and maybe they'd get, you know, $1, you know, in interest. I would always tell them, you always have to have something that you make money while you sleep. And if you do that, you'll have financial security, that you don't have to live paycheck to paycheck like 76% of Americans do today.
Yeah, that's absolutely crazy.
That's a staggering number. A staggering number. Yeah.
So what's also great about Bruce's story with what he's done with his kids, teaching them about passive income and all those other things. I like the story of Bruce, um, when when your kids started seeing all these houses, and also you live in a nice house, my friend. You live in kind
Yeah.
of a big house. It's quite Bent Creek, but it's a really nice house you live in there in Linnets. And your kids said to you, because they were paying attention to their neighbors and also like their kids at school and the houses they walked in, Daddy, are we rich? And you said, listen, your mother and I both work jobs and we also invest on the side. Your daddy's a business owner. We've saved for a long time. We've put money aside. And, you were able to, as they started asking questions, teach them financial principles.
Exactly. Yep. You got to watch your money. The only person that actually watches your money better than you is you.
Right.
Right.
That's exactly right. Yeah, that's my good friend Ray Alcorn says. Nobody thinks about my stuff all the time but me. He says I tell my accountant how I want him to file my taxes. I go to my attorney and say, I want to do XYZ. Let's find a way to make it legal and keep me out of trouble. What do we need to do to make this happen? Nobody thinks about my stuff all the time but me. So, Bruce, let me ask you a question. So one of the things that's very hot right now and very popular is house hacking. As there's, because of what's going on economically, a lot of people are some people are hurting, and therefore there's not as many people buying up 3 and 4 unit buildings as what there used to be. Give us some general parameters. If you're going to buy a 3 or a 4 unit building, live in one unit and rent the others out, does that qualify for FHA? Does it qualify for, Fannie and Freddie? What are kind of down payments on something like that? What if interest rates are 3%? What's the kicker? Like, are those at 3.5% or 4% or just 3.25%? Talk to us about house hacking and what's going on in that world right now.
Well, residential loans are 1 to 4 units. So 5 units and above is a commercial loan. So 1 to 4 units, if you're going to reside in the unit or reside in the building, FHA, yuck, can do them. I prefer conventional because it makes paperwork a lot easier, but you can do 5% down on owner occupied 1 to 4 unit as long as you qualify and meet the parameters.
What was that? 5% down now?
You can do 5% down if you meet the parameters and qualify.
Okay.
I'll be talking to somebody who knows what he's doing. So you can normal circumstances, 1 unit, 3 to 5% down, 2 unit, 15% down, 3 and 4 units, a lot more down. So 25%.
Okay.
That can be secured borrowed money though. So you can borrow out of your retirement. Right. So you can borrow if you're worried about the stock market. Some people are. You can take a 401k loan and put it into real estate because real estate has what? More expected returns, right? You have a little bit more safety from a standpoint of what the rental market is going to do. Even if your house doesn't appreciate, what goes down is the principal and interest on the principal on the loan, right?
Yep.
So you create your expected returns versus the stock market. If you really don't know what you're doing, which most people don't, I would say 95% of the people I ask what they invest in 401ks have no idea.
Yeah.
So you can take a loan out and invest that money into a real estate investment property that Judah could find you. You could actually fund it if it's a fixer-upper.
There
right?
you go.
So what Josh does is value add, right? You're
That's right.
buying wholesale, putting repairs into it, creating value to the real estate, increasing the value with a good realtor like Judy. He can tell you what the number is going to be, and then your rents can actually pay the loan back.
Well, and do you do anything with? I mean, I know this is like a level 5.0 at this point, but you ever work with anybody that you do any loans to retirement accounts where, let's say you've got a Roth IRA or an IRA that is buying the property.
Oh, sure.
Okay. So, I mean, we are one of the few hard money lenders that will make that type of loan.
Okay. That's
so,
a non-recourse loan. Okay.
So
IRA is the borrower, not the individual.
that's right. And then, I don't know if, I guess my question is, do you
You'll
do
do the takeout funding on that, Bruce?
Yeah.
There's only 2 banks in the country that still do that, Judah. So we wouldn't be one of them, but certainly I know who they are.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are available. The loan to values are usually lower, so 65 to 70.
Yep.
And then you need to have some reserves in your IRA, SEP, or depends on where you have that money. So you probably have some recommendations where people should have their money, that they could utilize it to do self-directed.
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know some great self-directed IRA companies, and also my sister Jonna, who we still haven't had on as a guest, Josh. We got to have my sister Jonna on here as a guest.
Absolutely.
So my sister Jonna is a great financial planner with Edward Jones.
Yeah.
We also work with
my wife and I sat down with last week and talked
Yep.
about her financial plan. She's great.
She is. She's really good. Yeah. So the other thing you have to watch out for, and I just know because I used to do these loans and broker them to those 2 national lenders.
Yeah.
They have to be at like they don't like houses that were built before 1960. You know what I mean? Because they can't look at Josh's income, they can't look at Josh's credit score, they can't look at Josh's anything about Josh. So it's all the property. So therefore, they really look hard at the property.
Yeah.
And so in central Pennsylvania, which is where a lot of our listing base is, that the housing stock, some of the housing stock is older. So if you're going to flip a house built before 1960 in your IRA, just watch that. But by the way, speaking of IRAs, Bruce, how early? You don't have to be 18 and working a full-time job to set up an IRA. In fact, you've set up some IRAs already for your kids, and you've done deals inside your kids' IRAs, right?
Yeah. So you can have a Coverdale IRA, right? So you can fund a Coverdale IRA, and then you can utilize 2 of the things that you mentioned early in the program. You could utilize a subject to deal or a rent to own, from an investment standpoint, tie up the real estate inside the Coverdale IRA. The IRA actually owns the real estate, collects all the rents, of course, and you can build your portfolio. It's a great way to help pay for college education today, because I think Austin just finished, my son, $130,000 to go to Penn State.
Yeah.
He was a smart kid. He graduated with a 4.26 GPA from high school. It was still 130 grand.
Wow.
It's good thing you're the rich one.
Yeah, I guess. Real estate helps.
Right. Just get it.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Yeah. So I think that you can have a Roth. You can have self-directed IRAs. You can do now. Listen, self-directed IRAs are for like later money, right? But you can tie them up with that. You can tie up real estate deals. You can wholesale in them. You can wholesale in retirement plans. You can do them in I even have one. What are those medical plans where you have the credit card and HSA? Yeah. You can, if you have the right HSA, you can do self-directed IRA or self-directed HSAs and do real estate deals inside of there. So, well, listen, Bruce, tell us how we get a hold of you, and tell us a little bit more about what you're doing. And Josh, you have a question.
Well, no, tell us about your business and like who you can help the most, who you like working with, and how people can contact you.
Sure, no problem. So right now, my focus primarily is in the purchase money market. So if you're out looking to buy a home at today's lower interest rates, the best way that you can do that, because inventory is tight, is to get with an excellent lender that has experience, that does an actual what's called a pre-approval versus a pre-qual. So I'm not a guy that takes an app on the phone, pulls credit, and says, here's your letter. So I collect documents up front. I tell you exactly what type of loan would work best, and we compare and do an analysis. But then when I give you a letter, and in the local central PA marketplace, my name is gold. So when I give a letter to you from Mortgage Network, the listing agent knows that that deal is going to close because they know I collect documents up front. So that's how I work. I actually look at everything to make sure that you can actually, number one, are in the right loan program. Number two, are in the right price range. Number three, know how much money you need in order to close your deal and how to put it together. Because in today's market, oftentimes escalation clauses, or as Judah knows, are kind of prevalent, so you're paying a little more for the house than what it's listed at in today's market. So anyone can reach me actually on my website, brucebarlar.com, or my phone is 717-892-1900 is my office line.
So there's a scroll at the bottom here with all of Bruce's contact information, so you can reach out to him, email, phone. I didn't put your website on here. I should have. Sorry.
Okay.
It's first and last name.com. So, so John, one of our faithful listeners and commenters here, says we need to have schedule another show and just have story time. Bruce and I have oftentimes joked about how we should just write a book with all the stories from real estate. But I got to tell you one that relates to Bruce's name being gold. And I wanted to tell this earlier, but I'm glad that I saved it. So there is this guy. He's a Harrisburg landlord institution in and of himself. He's that old, crusty, beer gut, stained shirt, buys all his properties himself, manages all his properties himself, does all the work on all his properties himself, only has about 35 or 40 units, but that's enough to keep him busy. And when you don't let any contractors do any of the work and you have to do it all yourself, he makes a nice living for himself. And he is just, I mean, he's Archie Bunker. He makes Archie Bunker look kind and sweet and gentle. And this guy said to me, I was doing a loan for him, and he knew that I was Bruce's partner. I had been with Bruce for about a year or so and just met this guy. And this guy, this troglodyte of a human being, says to me, just tell Bruce to break out his bag of pixie dust and sprinkle it on the loan and get it done. Listen, no one in the industry understands how Bruce gets all the loans done that he does, but Bruce gets loans done. That's all you need to know. So it was this old grizzled guy who said, tell Bruce to break out his bag of pixie dust. I know more than one person who was independently referred to Bruce as the wizard. They just say that when it comes to getting loans done, Bruce is the wizard.
That's awesome.
Thanks, Jake. Thanks, guys.
Listen, man.
That is a funny story, though.
Yes, you know who I mean.
Story too.
That's great. That's great. So, Bruce, hold on here. That's all we got for today, guys. Thanks so much for joining us, everybody. We really appreciate it. We're going to be back here at noon tomorrow. Fridays are a lot of times our biggest day. We got all the news of the week. We're going to talk about how it relates to real estate, and there's a lot going on. So tune in tomorrow. We'll see you at noon. Thanks so much, everybody. Again, Bruce, thanks so much. And
My
stick
pleasure.
All right. Take care.
Thank you.